hopelessness and helplessness within this scenario because now I'm married to this person. I get that he's a liar. Nothing he's saying is coming to pass. And so she's just numb at this point, right?
Good Lord. Man, that's crazy.
It's a mess. It's a whole mess. And so then she says that she was actually grateful at one point because she saw that he was cheating again with what she said was a prostitute. And she said that it was a legit prostitute because there were prices, how much for this, how much for that, etc. And she said that she was actually thankful because she felt like that God would forgive her for divorcing a man that was unfaithful to her, but would not forgive her for divorcing a man that essentially had falsified everything in anything that he was or was doing, right? And I want to take a moment to say, I don't know what God everybody serves, and it's not for me to know. But I hope that no one is serving a God that wants you to be miserable with someone that is lying to you and breaking down your self-esteem and and manipulating you every single day. Every day. I'm going to step off my soapbox in a minute, but I will say, do you really think that's what Jesus died for? If you believe in Jesus, if you believe in all of that, which she claims that she was a Christian and she believed in the storyline of Jesus and all of that, if you believe in that, you really think that's what he died for? So that you could be held at this high regard around divorcing someone that is lying and manipulating you, like, whatever. So anyway, I'm gonna step off my soapbox because sometimes you got to. But she was excited because he had cheated, and now that was her golden ticket to end the marriage, I guess. He had lied about everything. The girl hired a private investigator at some point. At some point, she had looked up his social security number, and the social security number that he had gave her wasn't the same social security number that she had found on some packet. So it was just nonsense. And he said that he had went to a school in California and that he had played football and all this other type of stuff. And none of that was true. I think they said that he lived in Georgia, Rhode Island, and some other place. You know what place he didn't live? California. He didn't go to school in California. And then she asked him about it, and she said, I couldn't find any record of you in California. He says, my father paid for me to be a private citizen. What? Are you talking about, sir?
I'm about to say that's a thing.
That's not a thing. Now,
I didn't think it was.
Now you can pay money so that your number isn't listed in like the white pages and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can go to a website for that sort of thing.
Yeah, like you can do that, right? But nah, player, if you live somewhere and you put your information in to get a apartment or anything, you leave a trail. If there's no trail, guess what, sir? There was no you. How about that? How about that? Okay? So she says to him, you lied about, California. And you lied about going to the college. And he's about to get defensive, and she says, just chill. Just don't even worry about it. Don't waste your energy. Because I looked it up. And you didn't go. So there. And she said that his eyes went dead. that he wasn't having serious emotional reactions to anything that she was saying, but his eyes went dead.
Oh, ooh. So to piggyback off of last week, he is a sociopath.
Ah! He is having, or exhibiting sociopathic behaviors. Okay.
See,
Now I've
you done
seen,
learned me.
yeah, there you go. So and it's chilling because I've seen this. Because a part of therapy is building rapport and all of these, lovely things, right? But it's also a point in order to elevate anybody, you have to confront them where they are, right? If you never confront them where they are, they're never going to progress. So there has been times when I have had to confront a client and their eyes would just bloop, just would go dead. And so I knew exactly what she was talking about. And that's a scary thing when somebody's eyes go dead like that. Because he didn't care. He didn't care. And in all honesty, he wasn't there. After she called that out, he left. I don't know where he went, but he wasn't there. And I've seen that multiple times, and I'm telling you, individuals that can detach from themselves and from reality like that, no.
He went to California for a fat burger.
That's where he must have been at In-N-Out in California when she was asking him about San Diego. He had went to In-N-Out in California, but it was sad, but it wasn't, because I think that by, what was it, episode 35, 40 or something, that by the time she had said something to him or whatever, we were ready. We were past ready for her to have said something. We were like, can you please move this along? And so people said they were captivated. I just not. I was not captivated, but I knew that I wanted to talk about it today on my podcast, so I figured I might as well. I have to watch it. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So she finally confronts him. She tells him, and he's faking some knee injury or whatever at this time. And she said that he's not eating. He's lost a lot of weight. She don't know what's going on. I think maybe he done told somebody that he had cancer. Somebody else he was seeing. I don't know what's happening.
Oh,
because it tracks, right? Like, now
he was
you
moving
losing
on.
all this weight and all this stuff is happening, and you hobbling around and you can't work and all this jazz. So I'm like, but that's just me speculating. I don't know what he told anybody. So at some point she talks to his ex-wife, a cousin, a brother, all these different people. And then she finds out that he has the ex-girlfriend who he lied to. He has the ex-wife that he lied to. But then she finds out there was an ex-wife before that ex-wife.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's number 3 instead of number 2. And I'm not counting the girlfriend. She's number 3, the third wife. And
wow.
So, yeah, it's a... I would likely be single by choice for the rest of my life, thanks to my own experience. Yes. That was Carnal's comment. And yes, I don't think he did have anything to lose, at that point. But she told him, she was like, you need to get out. You need to leave. You've been lying. I don't want to do this anymore. You need to leave. And so he doesn't leave, because duh, right? And he calls his aunt, who is really his aunt, according to the story, and says to her, she says I'm lying to her, and she's putting me out, And I've never lied to that girl. And apparently, for her, this was a breaking point. Because this was one of the first times I think that she had actually saw him lie to someone else about her in front of her face. And she lost it.
That'll do it.
Lost it. She went. She said she had an Angela Bassett moment where she was darting around the room. Anybody seen Waiting to Exhale? Where she was darting around the room. Now this is where she says she snapped, where she separated, or detached in some way from reality. This can happen. It can happen. You know, she didn't hurt the guy or anything like that, but she started screaming and yelling, and I guess she pushed him out or whatever it is that she did. And he, you know, she was like, you have to go, you know, and she says that she had just lost it. Fast forward, they're not seeing each other anymore. She files for divorce. There is this whole spiel about her talking to the ex-wife, and the ex-wife saying, you know, this is what he does, this is what he did to me. You know, the ex-wife before her wasn't from California. She was from Georgia, which is exactly where they were from. You know, and she said anything that he told you was a lie. I'm like, but that's just like saying a dog barks. We know that. At this point, we're well aware he's not a truth teller. You know, so they have this woman-to-woman conversation that's supposed to be so great.
Woman-to-woman.
Right? And I'm just like, I could have had a V8. And if you guys are old enough to know what that means, I'm not explaining it. So, she kicks him out and everything. He's gone. They're not speaking, but he keeps trying to call her. She done changed her number. Blah, 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 blah. Stuff you do when you break up with somebody. And they get divorced. So the divorce is final. Now, he's talking about he wants his stuff back. But he gave her everything in the divorce. What exactly are you asking for, sir?
He want that tire from the first date?
I know! Say that! He like, I want that tire. I want you to pay me back for that Cheesecake Factory. All the bills I paid. I want
the Tex-Mex egg rolls back. Pronto.
Yes, I want them all. Give it all back to me. You know? And essentially what he was really asking for was a TV. And some bags of clothes, I guess. I don't know. But the way that the divorce decree was set up was that whatever was in her possession, she kept. Whatever was in his possession, he kept. And they didn't go through splitting up anything else. Because most of the things belong to her anyway. He even went as far as telling her about, like, the daughter of the ex-wife died and all this other stuff, which was not confirmed.
Oh my gosh.
When she talked to the ex-wife, she said, my daughter's fine, you know, but she never told her that, yes.
What he said.
Yeah, she never told her what he said because she said that would have just been
It'll freak her out. Yeah.
Like, but you found her number on, what was it? The marital records. Called her out the blue about this guy that she divorced and said you were married to him, and that wasn't going to freak her out? Just the part about her daughter, huh? Like, understand here. She's already freaked out. Like, what are you talking about? Just the daughter thing. So, you know, and this is where boundaries kind of come into play. Okay? You see her number, but what you want to gain from her is more important than respecting someone else's boundaries. She divorced this man. She's not trying to have anything to do with this man. But what you need is more important. And And I say that and I bring that to the table because a lot of us are around individuals who prioritize themselves higher than they do us. And then sometimes we become so, I'll just say, so used to it that we start prioritizing that person higher as well. Right? And we start to lose and forget about our worth within a relationship. It's always their thing. It's always what they need. It's always them, right? And at this point, she has prioritized her curiosity over this person's privacy, right? And the way that she rationalized it was, well, it was public record. Well, you couldn't have just got her phone number off of the information that was found online. She had to go down there in person and file to get that information. So
Wow.
I'm not backing that rationalization, because anytime anyone's rationalizing to begin with, they already know they did something wrong. Or I don't like to use the word wrong, but something that does not align with their values. Now, she talks to this lady, blah, blah, blah. She says this dude tells her that he's going to show up at her house. Now, she says this is not a good idea. He wants to show up at her house because he needs his TV. Like, really, dude? At one point, he said he had $650,000 to put a cash offer down on a house. This same dude tripping about a 40-inch television? Nah. But his lie had unraveled so much. At this point, he was just like, well, I'm going to keep it real. I want my TV. You know, I'm like, yeah, maybe if you would have kept it real in the beginning, we wouldn't even be in this situation. But he shows up to the house. The police are there. And apparently he has a warrant out for his arrest. Because why not? And so she says that when he got out the car, he was smaller than she had ever seen him. And she attributed that to him being homeless and not eating. I'm like, whatever is the reason. You know, some people in the comments said, well, it must have been his guilt. Maybe he was guilty. No. If he wasn't guilty after the first house, why would he be guilty after the second one? If he didn't feel any guilt after the first two BMW places that he took her to and had her get behind the wheel, smiling and test driving something he was never gonna buy, why would he feel guilty now? No, he just got caught, and now he's facing consequences. And one of the consequences is being hungry, apparently. So he has lost some weight. He goes to jail. And
he get to eat.
Yeah, 3 square meals, man. Her calling the cops was one of the best things that could have happened to you, bruh. You know, he goes to jail, and then she says that she doesn't see him. She gets a restraining order or something or other, and she doesn't see him anymore after that. Thank
God. Oh my goodness, man, that was exhausting.
And you're welcome, people, for me summing this up for you and saving the agonizing 7 hours that it took for me to watch this series.
Well, you might need a volume after that or something. Ain't that what they call?
I needed a nap. That's what I needed.
Man, that is wow.
I was just like, come on. But she
that
says
is too much.
She says the signs were there, and she blames herself. My thing is, sometimes you want to believe the best about people. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. It's not a crime. However, it can't be at your own expense. Benefit of the doubt is one thing. But once it got to the point where the house fell through and you knew that he was lying to you, you had talked to the realtor yourself, you knew that this was another couple and he had been lying to you for months while you were pregnant, his the
Yeah,
character the character is coming out. Now, some people are like, well, he was a jerk. You know, according to a most recent video that she posted, I think she posted it a day or two ago. She says she talked to his brother, and his brother said, I want you to know that we know about him. The family knows that he is sick. And he lists a couple of diagnoses. He said that he had bipolar and schizophrenia. These, these are
apparently.
two.
Wow.
These are two very specific disorders. Now, interestingly enough, she didn't describe him as someone who went through various moods. She didn't describe him as anyone that was having the regular symptoms of mania, like not sleeping, taking on a bunch of tasks all at once, But he did have delusions of grandeur, and that's a symptom of mania as well. Well, what is wrong with me? I can't talk. I need some
The
water. That is a symptom of mania as well.
delusions of grandeur. I like that term.
Yeah, it means that you think that you're bigger and greater than you are, which
I like that term.
begs the question: did he believe his lies? Because there may have been a part of him that was believing some of the things that he was saying, and being, schizophrenia. That's a very serious and dangerous disorder. Now, they didn't say he had paranoid schizophrenia, but he has a schizoaffective disorder. And so, he consistently lies and he lives in his own reality, right? And so they said they knew this and they tried to get him meds. But when he got older, he wouldn't take his meds. And that's the thing. You can't force somebody to take their meds unless they're inpatient. He's sick. One guy said, and I don't remember his name, but this not his show, so I guess it doesn't really matter, right? He said that he called him smart slow. Let me let that sink in for a minute.
I know a lot of. I actually call it a different term. I know a lot of brilliant idiots. That is. There are a lot of brilliant, but that's not to that extent. Not that type of. That's a different dynamic.
And grandeur, yes. And Carnot said we all do that, live in our own unique realities. We all have perspectives, right? Based off of our skew, based off of themes of our lives, right? Traumas that we've gone through, whether we see the world as safe or unsafe, whether our locus of control is that the world is happening to us versus the world versus us having control of what happens within the world, all of those things. However, this individual dragged somebody into his world. And I think that a part of him believed, in all honesty, what he was saying. I really do. Especially if those diagnoses, okay. Especially if those diagnoses were valid. There's a part of him that was believing what he was saying. Because it sounds outlandish, but if somebody can believe that they need to put aluminum foil on their head so that the government can't track their thoughts, it's just as likely for somebody to believe they have money that they don't. And
Dale Gribble. if
who?
if you know, you know.
Oh, well,
Dale Gribble
I don't know
from a
who
show
that
called King
is.
of the Hill.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of
damn!
like
I never knew his last name. I never knew his last
Dale
name.
Gribble. Yeah, he was paranoid with the government. Yeah, that was
Yes, he
definitely
had. Yeah, he did.
some of
He had a
that.
problem. He was paranoid with the government, but he didn't realize that his son looked just like the Indian dude down the
Was
street.
uh,
You know what I'm saying? That's your own reality. You want to believe what you want to believe. What's wrong with you? Wait, you guys don't put aluminum foil on your heads? No, I don't. Oh, yeah. I'm reading the comments and I'm reading them out of
I know
order.
that's funny.
So I was just like, oh, he was being facetious. That's fine. No, we don't.
Facts.
And nevertheless, he believes some of the things he's saying. But when the guy was talking, I think his name was Tony Gaskin, who said he was smart slow. And he described it. He said that he works with individuals with different cognitive delays, and he called them mental retardations. And he said that just because these individuals have cognitive delays doesn't mean that they're not smart and that they don't know how to manipulate people. And so he gave examples of people that he's worked with that will say to him, you know, if you don't do X, Y, and Z for me, when this millions of dollars comes, you're not going to get any of it. And they kind of believe it. A part of them is like believing this story. It becomes their narrative. And I give it to Carnal. We all do it in our own way. You know, we fall into our own narratives. However, I think that this guy, you know, he could have some cognitive delays, because some of the lies that he tells is like something my 8-year-old would say. We went in a plane today, and one of the wings fell off, and you know, like it's some stuff that like is not above 6th grade level. You know, I got $1 billion jillion, but I stay in a studio apartment. That lie don't track.
Spell I cup.
You know,
Shout out to Zachariah.
the lie
I
doesn't
cup.
track. Spell I cup. So you doing these insiders that I don't know what you're talking about. But
Oh, you ain't heard that? Oh, he don't let you get a. He don't. Oh, I'm about to get over trouble. Never mind. Nothing.
Nothing indeed. So these lines, they're not tracking. It's kind of like, you know, when my eldest daughter, you know, would lie to me, which was often. It was so often. We love you. Anyway, if you're watching. But she would lie all the time. But the lie, like, all you would have to do was fact check anything she said and it would just crumble. Like, it wouldn't make any sense. This teacher told me this thing, and I remember one time I gave her money to buy a coat. And she was supposed to buy a coat. And she did not buy a coat. But she lied and she said she bought a coat. But then there was never a coat. Now this is easy to prove. It's winter. You're outside without a coat. Like 1+1 is 2. I mean, unless you Terrence Howard. So with that being, I'm just like, come on,
Man.
man. You know, these things are, it's easy to prove. You can see if a house is in contract with somebody. You can see if somebody has, if you ask them for their code to their bank account, you can see how much money they have. You can see if somebody's working at a prominent company, you can, I don't know, go up to their job and ask for them. I mean, these are just regular things that you can do that doesn't involve you having to hire a private investigator. This regular stuff you can do. It's just regular living things that you can do. And she did none of that.
Regular smuggler.
Regular smuggler. She did none of it. None of
that.
Now, this same guy.
For that reason,
what were you going to say?
She is extremely culpable. She is extreme, man. This could have been nipped in the butt early.
It could have. But what did I say?
That's the only fault of hers.
Well, I mean, that's the biggest. That's the only.
I get it. But that is, man, just a little due diligence.
However,
just a little due diligence, not even a lot.
She wanted these things to be true, and that's the biggest problem. She wanted these things to be true. So much so that she ignored
people in hell on ice water. You can't always do what you want.
She ignored obvious signs, and believe it or not, she's not the only person out here doing it. There's women doing it, men doing it. People ignore signs. Has anybody ever heard of that song? I don't want to know. If you're playing me, please don't let it show.
Open up my eyes, it's all the sign.
It's like this in this song. He's saying, "I don't want to know." He's literally saying, "I want to live in a reality that makes me feel better." And the reality that makes me feel better is not knowing or pretending not to know that this person is cheating on me. Same difference. People do it all the time.
I hated that song.
It was not one of my faves either.
I didn't understand. I was so confused.
It's unfortunate that people don't value themselves enough to believe that they're worth what they're looking for. And so they don't wait. They don't work on themselves, build themselves as a person and as a brand. And then, believe, that when the right person comes along, they're going to be somebody that can appreciate them and love them and handle their expectations. There was a lot of things that she did, but at the end of the day, he was lying, and she divorced him, and now he says he has a Netflix special coming up, and he's been shooting it for 16 days, 17 days, apparently longer than the actual series has been out. So I guess Netflix contacted him before the series came out because they knew the series was going to come out. No. Then he took pictures and he put the Netflix studio background behind himself and said that he was in the Netflix studio. And so then, I'm thinking to myself, so this the type of stuff you was falling for, lady? Like this would, because if this is his best of the best stuff, then essentially you just wanted to believe it. He showed me documents on a Chase letterhead. Make a phone call. Now I know we in the tech age and we like to text and all that. Make a call. Call someone. You know, especially once you guys got married, you would have been able to, you know, he said that her names was on each of the bank accounts that he had. She could have called in or something. I don't know. But a part of her wanted to stay in the reality where she was someone that was married. She was with a man that loved her. She found the person she wanted to be with or that she was going to be with for the rest of her life. And that reality was better for her than saying, I got duped. This dude is lying and I'm going to be single. You know, but eventually she got there, you know, and good for her. I'm glad. I'm glad that she finally realized at some point that she deserved better. I'm glad. But I hope that she also knows that she's not the only one out there lowering her standards. She's not the only one out there that is not believing in their own self-worth. She's not the only person that's been waiting so long for someone to come and validate her that she started to believe that she wasn't worth the validation. She's not the only one. And so I hope that the lesson that people get from this is that eventually she understood her worth, at least enough to leave. And to realize that it wasn't too much to ask someone to tell the truth. To tell the truth. And so he can go on with his Netflix special. And we'll see how that goes.
No, that is wild.
We'll see how that goes, right? It was wild. It's trending. I did it.
It's super trending.
I took the plunge. I watched the series. If you guys are gonna watch the series, do. But I did spoil it. I will say I told a lot of the stuff there. But I didn't tell everything. But I did. I told a lot of it.
Oh, you told enough. So
I told enough.
I thank you.
Yeah.
I ain't got to think about watching it now.
So at least
I know everything I need to know.
So at least when you guys see Risa Tisa on, you know, the TikTok. Wow. How old am I? I said the TikTok. Guess it's the Facebook and the Instagram too, huh? When you when you see her on TikTok, at least you'll know.
Oh, watch it on Snapface.
Oh. When you see her on TikTok, at least you'll know kind of what she's talking about because she keeps doing these updates. Apparently somebody decided to sponsor her trip to London since he lied to her about going to London, and so now she gets to go. So you know, there's something she's getting out of exploiting this situation, as you know, just as much as he's getting views and things from, you know, exploiting this situation. And then his one of his ex-wives jumped on, and she's talking and she wants to exploit the situation, and it's gonna keep going until people just don't care anymore, which will happen quite soon. And yeah.
Well, that might take a while. People care about the darndest things. It ain't just kids anymore.
I don't know how long it'll take. But I think, you know, 50 segments of a series, each one 10 minutes. Nah. If anybody else gets the idea to do
It'll be a no for me, dog.
Just miss me with it. But I wanted to bring it on the show because it had a lot of common things that I see from individuals looking to be in relationships, lowering their expectations. You know, she said that she wanted to be married with someone before she ever lived with someone, but he moved in during quarantine, and they weren't married, and they were sleeping together, right? And so she completely put what she wanted or what she believed in and her values on the back burner for the relationship. But if you have to do that, you're not in the right relationship. You know,
Facts.
one pastor I like, his name is Michael. Not the Michael you know, but it's another Michael. I can't remember his last name, but he's based out of California.
Michael Todd.
No.
Oh,
It's an African American guy, and I used to listen to him, and he would say, "It's not enough that people respect your values or respect your boundaries. You need someone that shares them, because I can respect your boundaries until when." Right? Until it no longer serves me. Then what? But if I share your values, then it means just as much to me as it does to you for these things to occur or not to occur in this case. So just remember that. Yeah, he had some green flags. Most of them was red though. Most of them was red. They was red. And I'm just don't ignore, because one of the things that she said was I had a feeling that something wasn't right. She keeps saying that all throughout the series. I had a feeling something wasn't right. If that's what you feel, ask questions and expect answers.
That's deep.
You know, expect answers because you deserve that. Relationships are two-sided. And if you don't feel like you are worthy of being in a relationship with someone, that just lets me know that you have not taken the time to build your own self-love. You haven't spent enough time with you. You haven't done enough self-discovery. You haven't learned to love you, which is the first person that you need to love before you can love anybody else. I hope that this speaks to somebody today. I really do. And I appreciate the listeners. I appreciate you, Joshua. I appreciate you, Carnal, Beatnik, Samantha, Dante. You know I appreciate you, Mr. Machismo. All the people who joined on Facebook and YouTube. Who? Deborah Terry. Catrice. Linda. That's my moderator. He's telling me everybody who joined. Is that everybody? Nikki? Vicky. Sorry. Linda again?
No, another Linda.
Oh, another Linda.
Linda Duncan.
Okay.
Evans Abon.
Okay. So that I'm just gonna blanket thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate you. I'm here on Thursdays at 6ish. And it would be awesome if you guys subscribe to the page, Supportive Advice Live. You'll be able to see all of the videos that we post. And also, if you have questions, please inbox me. I take questions live on air. So if you want your question answered by a licensed marriage and family therapist for free, put your questions in my inbox. Aquila Wheatley. That's my Facebook. You can also get me Aquila Wheatley at supportiveadvice.com. You can also visit supportiveadvice.com and send me a message via supportiveadvice.com. How many times I'm going to say supportive advice? I'm saying it again, supportiveadvice.com. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys. Please subscribe And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I'm out.